Welcome back. Today we're looking at some important updates concerning federal student loan income-driven repayment, or IDR plans.
That's right. There's been some movement following that temporary stop on processing IDR applications back in February.
Right, that was tied to the court ruling on the SAVE plan.
Exactly. And then the American Federation of Teachers, the AFT, they filed a lawsuit challenging that shutdown.
They wanted processing restarted.
Correct. And now we have a sworn statement, an affidavit from someone at the Department of Education giving us some details on resuming IDR processing.
Okay, lots to unpack there. And hey, if you find this helpful as we go, please give us a like and subscribe for more updates like this.
Definitely. So maybe we should start with the SAVE plan itself. What's the latest thinking there?
Good idea. What's the status?
Well, the expectation right now is that payments under SAVE probably aren't going to restart.
Not restart at all.
It seems likely the whole program might get struck down by the courts eventually.
Wow. So what happens to borrowers who are put into that special SAVE forbearance?
It looks like they'll stay in that forbearance. So no payments due and, crucially, no interest accruing either.
Okay, so that's some immediate relief, financially speaking.
It is. But there's a catch, right?
Always a catch. This forbearance period, it doesn't count toward loan forgiveness, does it? Not for IDR or PSLF.
That's the key thing, correct. While you're not paying and not accruing interest, that clock for forgiveness isn't ticking during this specific forbearance.
Right. It's a pause, but not progress towards forgiveness.
Exactly. And another point of uncertainty, that there's no clear end date given for this SAVE forbearance yet.
Okay, so SAVE is kind of in limbo, likely ending, and the forbearance continues for now, but doesn't help with forgiveness time.
That sums it up pretty well.
What about the other IDR plans that we're talking income contingent repayment, ICR, income-based repayment, IBR, and pay-as-you-earn, PAYE? Is processing starting back up for those?
Yes, partially. We're seeing some movement there. Mohela, the loan servicer, many people know.
Especially for PSLF, yeah.
Right. Mohela has indicated they've actually restarted processing applications for ICR, IBR, and PAYE, but only for certain groups initially.
Which groups are those?
It's specifically for single tax filers and also for married borrowers who filed taxes but reported zero income.
Okay, so a limited restart for now. What about everyone else who applied for ICR, IBR, or PAYE?
The Department of Education is targeting May 10th, 2025 for a full resumption of processing for all borrowers with pending ICR, IBR, and PAYE applications.
May 10th, 2025. That's a date to mark down.
Definitely. And importantly, this includes people who are currently in that SAVE forbearance we just talked about, but who applied to switch out of SAVE and onto one of these other three plans.
So if you tried to switch before the shutdown, your application should get processed starting around then.
That's the timeline they've put out, yes. May 10th, 2025.
Okay, things are moving, albeit maybe slowly. Should people expect quick processing once it fully resumes?
Probably not. Significant delays are pretty much expected.
Why is that? Just the backlog?
It's the backlog, yes, which is substantial after the pause. But also the servicers themselves, like Mohela and others, they need to update their systems to handle all this.
Right. System changes take time.
They do. And because of that, there's currently no estimated date for when they'll actually clear that entire backlog of applications.
So patience is key here.
Very much so.
Okay, let's shift gears slightly. There was some talk about spousal income related to these plans. What's changing there for ICR, IBR, and PAE?
Right. So starting that same date, May 10th, 2025, there's an important clarification, maybe even a change, for how spouses are factored in for payment calculations under ICR, IBR, and PAYE if you're married, filing separately, or if you're separated from your spouse.
Okay, what's the change? Are they including the spouse's income even if you file separately? I thought that was the point of filing separately sometimes.
So there was an initial statement and then an amended one that clarified things. It's not about including the spouse's income for married filing separately or separated borrowers.
Oh, okay, good. So what is the change then?
The change is that your spouse will be counted in your family size calculation for these plans, even if you file separately or are separated.
I see. So the income isn't combined in those cases, but the spouse still counts towards the family size number.
Exactly. And family size directly impacts how your discretionary income and therefore your payment amount is calculated under those IDR formulas. So it will likely affect the payment amount, just not by directly adding their income.
Got it. That's a subtle but important distinction. Family size, not income inclusion, for those filing separately.
Precisely.
Let's say your application for ICR, IBR, or PAYE finally gets reviewed after May 10th. What happens immediately for the borrower?
Okay, once they pick up your application for review, you'll be placed into something called a processing forbearance.
Another forbearance.
Yes, but this one's different. It's intended to be short-term, covering the time it takes to finalize your IDR plan setup. It can last up to 60 days or potentially shorter if they finish processing sooner.
Okay, up to 60 days. How does this forbearance affect forgiveness? Does it count?
This is crucial. This specific processing forbearance will count towards public service loan forgiveness, PSLF.
Oh, good. So those months count for PSLF.
Yes. If you're making progress towards your 120 qualifying PSLF payments, this period should count. However,
There's always a however.
it will not count toward the forgiveness you get at the end of an IDR plan itself, the 20 or 25 years of payments.
Okay, so it counts for PSLF, but not for IDR forgiveness time. That's clear.
Right.
But what if things get bogged down and processing takes longer than that 60-day window?
That's a concern. If the IDR processing stretches beyond 60 days, the guidance says you'll then be moved into a general forbearance.
And let me guess, general forbearance is bad news for forgiveness.
You got it. General forbearance typically does not count toward forgiveness under either IDR plans or PSLF.
Oof. So extended processing delays could actually pause your progress towards forgiveness entirely if it pushes you past that 60-day processing forbearance.
That's the risk, yes. It could potentially set borrowers back.
That really underscores the hope that processing doesn't face major delays beyond that initial period.
Absolutely.
This seems like a good point to bring up the PSLF buyback program. Can that help with these kinds of forbearance periods?
It potentially could, yes. The PSLF buyback is mainly aimed at borrowers who have already completed their 120 months of qualifying PSLF employment.
Right. They have the work history done.
Exactly. And if they have certain past periods of deferment or forbearance, and maybe these administrative or processing forbearances could fall into that category that are preventing them from hitting the 120 payment threshold, the buyback program might allow them to make lump sum payments, essentially buying back those months to make them count towards PSLF forgiveness.
So if this savee forbearance or a potential future general forbearance due to processing delays is the only thing stopping someone with 10 years of public service work from getting forgiveness, they might be able to use buyback.
That's the idea behind it. It could potentially bridge that gap. However, there are specific eligibility rules. You need to meet certain criteria.
And is it straightforward? Are people getting decisions quickly?
Not really, no. From what we understand, many borrowers have applied for buyback and are currently waiting for decisions, and there's no clear timeline on when those decisions will come through.
So it's another potential tool, but maybe not a quick or certain fix right now.
That seems fair to say. It depends on the specific rules and the borrower's individual situation, and there's a waiting period involved.
Okay, so pulling this all together, we've got the ACE plan likely ending, processing for ICR, IBR, PAY, restarting partially now and fully by May 10th, 2025, but with expected delays.
Right, and that important detail about spouses counting towards family size, even when filing separately for those plans starting May 10th.
Plus the processing forbearance that counts for PSLF but not IDR, and the risk of general forbearance if delays exceed 60 days, which counts for neither.
And the PSLF buyback as a potential but currently slow option for some. It's quite a lot to keep track of.
It really is. It highlights how dynamic this whole student loan landscape is right now. Things are definitely still in flux.
Absolutely. Legal challenges, administrative timelines, it's constantly evolving. Further developments are certainly possible, even likely.
So for everyone listening, it's really worth taking a moment to think about how these pieces fit together for your own situation. Consider the likely end of savee, the timelines for other plans, potential delays, and how these forbearance rules might impact your specific repayment strategy and your path towards forgiveness, whether that's through IDR or PSLF.
Yeah, mapping it out for your own loans is probably a good idea.
Definitely. Well, thank you for walking through these complex updates with us.
Happy to help break it down.
And thank you all for tuning in. If this breakdown was useful, please do hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss future updates. We'll keep tracking these developments. Until next time, take care.